Talk to me. I know that you are going to be having, what is it, a march today?
Yes, sir. We're more like a protest, standing in solidarity with the family of Jacob Blake. His family called him Jake. So we're going to be standing in solidarity with the family of Jake. They thought they killed him. They thought they had another Stephon Clark and he lived. So the family wants to stand in solidarity to honor the fact that. Can you hear me?
I got you. Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, to honor the fact that he's here with us and and his life has not been taken.
What do you make of what we're seeing? Here again, we're talking about this. Here again, we're looking at someone who has been unarmed and shot by police.
I think until we start taking steps further than protests, further than marching, and we start taking steps when it comes to actionable items, when it comes to bridging the gap between law enforcement and at-risk communities, until we take the necessary steps at bridging the gap between law enforcement and at-risk communities, then these types of atrocities will continue to happen. Because
And
we're not bridging the gap. We're not having the dialogue the way we need to have. We need to have.
well, we see today the NBA boycotting, players saying they're not going to play based on what happened. What do you think of that?
I think that's big. I think that's big. Like how you see the NFL standing up and doing the PSA. How you see Kim Kardashian entertainers standing up, we're sharing the petitions. Now you see the NBA boycotting the playoffs and the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe. This is just it's good that people are standing in solidarity and doing what they need to do to be heard when it comes to calling for accountability on their platforms. But like I said, Chris, we need to take it a step further when it comes to more actionable items, and that means we have to start sitting down with these law enforcement officials and find out what the hell is going on here.
Can you turn the phone sideways, horizontal for me?
Right there.
Let me see how that works. That's good. So let me just ask you, you've been through this, you've lived this. What is the message from Sacramento? What are you hoping to get across to the folks?
The message from Sacramento is that an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere, and we stand in solidarity with injustices anywhere in this country because we believe in accountability on not some levels but all levels. And Sacramento is standing with those in Kenosha, Wisconsin, when it comes to this atrocity because we shouldn't be here again. It's too soon. It happens too often, too frequently. This is a club nobody wants to be a part of. Even though Jacob Blake did not die, he is still part of a club no one wants to be a part of.
Well, and that's what you bring up, right? That is for folks who have been there, for families who have experienced these things. It keeps happening. Enough is enough seems to be the message.
Yes, enough is enough. We're sick and tired of getting killed in the streets like dogs. Respect us. We are people, not property, and we should be respected and treated as such. It feels like they respect property more than people. And I've been saying this numerous times since the death of my brother. Justice delayed is justice denied. Those cops should have been fired, charged, and prosecuted as soon as that video and that footage came out. That is unacceptable. His children were there. His children witnessed that. This is unacceptable and it's uncalled for. And if he was a different color and he lived in a different neighborhood, probably we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Well, and so that's why we're seeing some of the things that we're seeing across the country. We're having our national conventions. Last week was the Democratic National Convention. This week, the Republican National Convention. People trying to decide what they want to do in November. I know one of the things that you were saying is it's not enough to protest, that people have to make their voices heard at the ballot box.
Yeah, we have to make our voices heard at the ballot box. Another thing we have to do is get rid of the electoral college, okay? Because Trump lost the popular vote, but he won with the electoral college. We have to get rid of that stuff, okay? Because that stuff it's unconstitutional. The people should have the power. The people should have the vote. Our votes do count. Our votes do matter. I want to influence everybody, especially our young people, to go out there and vote, vote, vote. We need to get anybody in there who's going to represent our fights, our rights, and our causes in the way that speaks to us personally, because we're tired of people saying things and not following up. We're tired of politicians putting power, popularity, and profits over people. Enough is enough.
Well, you make a good point as we start to talk about this. I mean, as we all look to what's going to happen. What do you want? What are you saying to people who come out today at 6 o'clock?
I'm saying come out and bring your face mask. Make sure you be prepared to socially distance from everybody. We're following the requirements set by our governor. We're going to go out there and we're going to do a small little protest, maybe a walk around from the DA's office to either Cesar Chavez Park or the mural, the Stephon Clark mural. We'll have a moment of silence for Jacob Blake, not because he didn't die, but because it's a moment of silence for the family, the kids that have to sit there and watch their father almost get assassinated or attempted to be assassinated in front of their eyes. His children should have never had to experience that. So we're gonna have a moment of silence for his children and for Jacob Blake as well and the family. Let them know we're standing in solidarity with them, respect their respect their fight, respect their life, and we're sorry that this happened to them. But whatever we could do, the Clark family, whether it comes to emotional support or financial support, we are there.
Well, and let me ask you this. What do people need to know about logistics? What's the plan? Where should they gather?
They should all gather at the district attorney's office. I think it's 910 I Street, I believe.
901 G Street is what the thing has?
901 G Street. Sorry about that. 901 G Street, the district attorney's office. We will be meeting there at 901 G Street at the district attorney's office at 6 p.m. And it's not going to be long. It's just going to be a call for accountability, a few chants, hear from a few speakers, a little walk up the street, and everybody go home. But don't think we're going home as we're stopping the protest. We're going home because we're ready to plan for actionable items. I'm not with the just protesting and protesting and protesting. I'm with doing the work. Enough talking, more action. I'm with the action, not the talking.
What type of action do you want to see in this one?
Well, I want to see, number one, I want to start talking about how we're going to bridge the gap between law enforcement and at-risk communities. I want to talk about how we're going to inform and educate policy and legislative change so things like this never happen again. I want to also talk to people about receiving recommendations from communities and from our elders and from our council members on how to prevent these types of atrocities from ever happening again. We want to talk about how do we commemorate the life and legacy of Stephon in a positive light by speaking up for the family of Jacob Blake. We want to also talk about providing resources and healing space for those in our community, because if our kids don't have the resources and healing spaces, these types of atrocities, I believe, will keep happening again and again and again. We're going to talk about the solutions, not just the problem, but the solutions.
Very good. And what about some of the violence and things that we've seen, Mr. Clark? We've seen some of that. We've seen, some of the violent things that have happened during the protest. That's not what this is about, right? This is about peaceful protests demanding change.
Yes, the things I've been seeing on the recent media and the news, I don't even want to speak on it because I don't even want to talk about that evil spirit. That is evil. That is not the spirit of the protest. That is not the heart of the movement. These are people that come from out of state and people that are not a part of the fight, people who want to call divisive rhetoric in our country, put us against each other. It won't work. It will not work. So, I just feel like, it's sad that we live in this world that we live in, but this is the reality of the world that we live in, unfortunately.